Listen to me. It is Thursday at 8 p.m. And you know what time it is? It is time for the Real Money Coach. Listen, I am excited. I'm so glad that you are here. You are faithful watchers, listeners of the Real Money Coach every Thursday night. Hey, listen, I'm going to share some information with you guys soon because not only are we here live on Thursday nights, but also Kimberly Winborn. Thank you for being here. That is awesome. Listen, Kimberly Winborn from Durham or Raleigh in that area. She's going to be on our show coming up in the first Thursday in August. And we'll be sharing a book of hers called The Debt Detox. Listen, you got to tune in for that. Matter of fact, I'm so glad that she's done that because what I want you to do is I'm going to announce this now. This is just kind of, God is good. Listen, I didn't know that Kim would be here, but I want to do this. We're going to be talking about her book, Debt Detox. Let me grab my book. Let me grab it so you can see. All right. So it is the Debt Detox. You can get this on Amazon. It is going to be the subject of our Real Money Coach on the first Thursday in August. Now, there's 31 days in August. There's 31 days of detox. I personally, my wife and I, we're going to go through the debt detox for the month of August. If you want to join us in that, go ahead and get your book now. Don't wait until she comes on the show to order it. Go ahead and order it now. Kim, if you would like to put in the chat, maybe the direct link to your book, and it's a phenomenal book. It's the Debt Detox, and it has 30 days. I think it's 30 days of debt detox. Listen, go ahead and do that. Order your book now. It is going to be our topic, and we're going to do this in the month of August. My wife and I have already committed. We have our debt detox book so that we can go through it in the journal as well. Listen, let's go ahead and make sure we do that. Now, I know some of y'all have some debt, right? Okay, let's not pretend you don't have no debt. I know some of us got some debt that we need to get rid of. We need to detox. And it's more than about the debt detox, right? It's so much more than just about getting rid of debt. And as you know, my book is coming out. We haven't talked a lot about that on the show either. Is that I do talk about debt elimination in the book as well. And so when that releases in this fall, you'll be able to get, my twist on it. But let's do the debt detox together, Real Money Coach family. Listen, you know how we do. Wherever you are watching from, wherever you are listening from, please put that in the chat box. Let us know where you're watching from, what part of the country. If you're in Charlotte, if you're Michigan, California, sometimes we have people from Australia, South Africa, all over the globe on the show, and we like and love you all. We had a phenomenal show last week with Pastor James Hines was on with us. Tonight, I have a gentleman that I met a couple weeks ago over in Raleigh when Dr. Frazier was over there speaking. And so, yeah, we're really excited. Listen, we got Alice Martin from the Queen City. We got Jasmine from Orlando, Kimberly Hines Winborn from Raleigh, North Carolina, Jay Cunningham, from Orlando, Florida. We got Emmanuel Holder from Raleigh. Listen, we're glad you are here. We're glad that you're listening. I have had Thursday for me came around so soon because, Sunday was the 4th of July. And then, but the actual observance of the holiday was Monday. So it's like, Tuesday felt like Monday and this, but I'm glad that we are at Thursday because I always look forward to Thursday sharing with you. And I got to give a shout out to my guy, Chad Lawson, who's in Columbus, Ohio, but he is a Michigan fan. Listen, we're excited about Michigan. We're excited about our basketball team. you guys got to give it up for the brother Juwan Howard. He's doing a phenomenal job there. Whether you like Michigan or not, that's a personal decision, but we can talk about that at another time. Joshua Hicks, thank you for being here. He says he is Raleigh, but he's from Pittsburgh. He's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Glad that you are here as well. Listen, and I know many of you watched the replay. If you last week for me was so much fun because for one, we had Michelle Mitchell, who's been co-hosting with me, and we want you to keep her family in your prayers. They're dealing with some illnesses and stuff like that. But anyway, keep her in your prayers. But I had an old friend, Pastor James Hines, on, and it was just a great time. It was an impromptu. You got to watch it. He was having some internet issues. He FaceTimes me in the middle of the show, but we got it all done. So it was a lot of fun. Want to give out a shout out to Adele Ryan from Greenville, South Carolina is in the house. And, y'all be watching and texting me, but y'all don't put nothing in the chat box. Y'all don't put where you from. You text me after the show. Say, oh, it was a great show. Well, put it in the chat box. Let us know where you're calling from. Especially tonight, because tonight I want you to come with your questions. Put them in the chat box. We're going to address all your questions tonight about investing. I have a young man that's going to be on with us, and he's a phenomenal trader, very experienced financial advisor. He is, doing a phenomenal job, and he's going to share what we call Jay's Money Secrets with you tonight. And so I'm looking forward to that. I hope you're looking forward to it too. Again, last Sunday was my wife's birthday, and so we had a chance to have family in town, and just the grandkids were here. Now, listen, two of my grandkids are still here now. Two of my grandkids are still here. So if you hear some noise, you understand that those are my grandkids. My babies are in the house, and so. But one of the things I wanted to do that we don't do often is I want you to just put in the chat box something you're grateful for. So for me, I was just reflecting on it, that I'm very grateful for my family. My wife, we're going to celebrate in a couple of weeks. We're going to celebrate 29 years of being married. We got our 4 kids, 3 grandkids. I don't say my mother-in-law, but my mother on my wife's side of the family, right, is here with us for a few weeks. And so I'm just sitting here tonight, just a blessed man. And that's how I feel, just to have my family around. I mean, and I was thinking about it, is like we have under my roof right now, we have 4 generations. We got my wife's mother, my wife, my daughter, my granddaughter. It's 4 generations of ladies, and then there's a couple of us guys in the house too. So, but it's just a great week for me to be surrounded with family, especially having been shut in for so long because of COVID and we couldn't see each other. But we got our shot, and I hope that you guys got your shot. Listen, some people have put in the chat box, Chad said he's grateful for life. And isn't that the truth? Grateful for life. Joshua Hicks says, I'm grateful for my time. Jasmine says, family, health, safe shelter. Oh, man, isn't that the truth? And I believe someone was from Florida. And when you think about the building that collapsed in Florida, just all of a sudden, all those types of things. Kimberly put that... she didn't put this, I don't know if she put this as a response to my question, but she put hashtag collaboration, right? So we think and we believe in collaboration. And one of the things that you guys will know about us at Real Money Coach, we don't mind bringing other people in that do similar things to what we do, because we think having different perspective is good. We think bringing different mindsets in, not only it encourages us, it keeps us going, keeps y'all engaged and doing the type of things that we want to do. Let's see what else we got. See, so praise God. You're a wealthy man. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Kim said, grateful for the beauty of life seasons. Wow, figuratively, spiritually, etc. That's deep. I like that. I like that a lot. I do want to remind you of this. Go to our Facebook page, Facebook / The Real Money Coach. Join our special group that we have, exclusive group that we have on Facebook. We'll be sharing more and more information with you guys there. We're going to be coming out with more online lessons that you can participate in. As you know, we do 6 weeks. We do a lot of different financial literacy trainings. We're doing one in California right now that actually takes place after our show ends here. So it's at 9 p.m. Eastern time, 6 p.m. West Coast time. And that group is the Black Chamber out of Stockton, California. And so we just enjoy sharing this information of financial literacy. That's what it's all about for us. And I was on, I was on Clubhouse earlier, the Power Networking conversation that happens Thursday. And the question was, how do you decide when to give? And the thing that kind of sticks out in my mind so often is something that Dr. Frazier had told me a long time ago. I think it's even addressed in his book, is that first, be the first to give. If you can be the first to give, we all can give something, even if it's just a word of encouragement, if it's a smile, if it's a prayer. But I want to be the first to give. I want to be the first to give. And, it's important. And then I was thinking about the scripture, right? It's like, give and it shall be given unto you, without measure, pressed down, shaken together, cup running over. And we simply can't outgive God, right? The more we give, the more he gives back to us. And that's what we hope that we're doing tonight. And on this show is that we're giving you something and that you will use it and give it to others. Let me hit a couple other people here. Alice Martin said she's grateful for health, peace, and God's guidance and blessing during her senior years, right? She says she's a senior. I don't know. Alice Martin got more energy than a whole lot of us, right? Adele said family, friends, and health. Man, wow. And we often say this, right? That money cannot buy you good health. It may be able to buy you good health care, but it can't buy you good health. And so if you have good health, you just have to thank God for that, right? Your health is your new wealth, right? So what profit it a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And so as we talk about money, because this is the Real Money Coach show, we keep that in perspective. We don't worship our money. We're not money worshipers. We're not money misers. We want to keep money in a healthy mindset. It's a tool. It's a tool that we need to get by in this world, but we don't want to be unbalanced. So we don't want money to be more important than our health, our God, our family, all those type of things. We want to keep everything in perspective. And so that's what we hope that we're doing for you, is we're bringing you good, real information. Again, REAL stands for relevant, educational, actionable, and life-changing information. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to bring you some real information. Let's see, Chad said bringing other people shows that there's money out there to get in multiple ways. Listen, one of the things that we realize is that the Kimberly Winborns, the Jay, who's going to be on with us tonight, the George Frazier's, the John Hope Bryants, the Boyce Watkins, all these wonderful people that have been a part of our show or going to be a part of our show. It takes all of us, and we could spend our whole lifetime working in this vineyard and still there'll be work to do. So listen, that's what we're about. We're about getting it done, and we're about collaborating with other people and bringing great perspectives. So listen, I've been yakking away for 16 minutes already. Time for me to bring on the guest. Let me tell you about Jay Joseph. He's a licensed advisor currently holding a Series 7, 6, 63, Series 9. He's a chartered retired planning counselor. I love that. I love that destination. I got to find out more about that. Jay has worked in the financial industry for 14 years. He has a strong understanding of investing, financial planning. He shares his knowledge through different engagements with churches, junior achievement. He does some private financial coaching as well with individual business owners. He is a believer, and I'm reading this directly off his profile. He is a believer in business ownership, stock market investing and trading, and real estate investing. And when you think about that, reading that on his profile, that fits right into the 4 pillars of intergenerational wealth that we talk about: proper management of your current assets, proper insurance and investments, business ownership, and real estate. And Jay is a 6-figure stock and options trader. He's an advocate for financial literacy for all, ownership, and having multiple streams of income being the ways people can bring financial independence and to achieve financial freedom. That is Jay Joseph. Let's bring Jay Joseph on the stage. My brother.
What's going on? I'm glad to be here. Is that my bio that you was reading?
Man, that's your bio, brother. And the part about it is I only hit just a few of the highlights. It's even deeper than that. So, man, listen, I met you only maybe about a week and a half ago. Yes. And when I walked in the room, our good friend that many of us know, and he's been on our show too, Jimmy Davies, when I walked in there, he says, I got to introduce you to someone tonight. And so just as I was about to sit down and have a conversation with Dr. Frazier, he says, come on, I want to introduce you right now. He said, and what I loved about what Jimmy did, he says, before the night's over, I want to introduce you. He said, no, I better do that right now. So he walked me over, we exchanged information, and we had a great conversation the other day, and we could see that there was synergy, there was some like-mindedness. And so I just knew that you had to be a part and come in and share some of the things that you shared with me, with our listening audience. Thank you for inviting your network to be a part of this as well. And so, man, we're just excited. We're just excited. Looking forward to just sitting down, having a conversation like a couple friends, with a cup of coffee at Starbucks. We're going to talk about money tonight. We're going to talk about investing. We're going to talk about some good stuff tonight.
Well, with some Starbucks coffee, we better own the stock.
Right. Okay. Exactly. Because they're making it, right? They're making, that's for sure. So what I'd love for you to do, man, I read a little bit of your history, your background. Kind of tell us a little bit about your early childhood and growing up, and take us, through the college years.
Oh man, so got to go back that far, huh? All right. No, my pleasure. First of which, thank you for allowing me to be on the show, Tony. Number one, you were talking about, you said something key when you were speaking. A quote came to mind: "Your net work determines your net worth." That's key. Remember that, everyone. But as he mentioned already, I'm Jay Joseph. The bio sounds beautiful. It sounds exciting. But I'm a normal guy. I'm a normal guy that grew up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, born and raised with a single mother. And that single mother, she worked hard. That's one thing that she instilled into me, the ability and the goal of working hard. And that's what I did. I went to school about 4 hours away from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida, where I pursued a degree in accounting. I was the individual that I went out, I partied, I had a good time, but I was also the individual that got up, went to work because I was working hard. Throughout this time frame of working hard, guess what happened? I still had a car evicted, repoed. I faced an eviction, and I even spent some nights without electricity, even though I was working hard. Then it came to a point where it had to be something better. I knew there had to be something better. I just didn't know what it was, so I was in pursuit. In 2004, I read this book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by this guy named Robert Kiyosaki. It may be familiar. If you haven't read that book before, I think that's a good book to read. It talks about mindset. Would that help with my mindset? It taught me not only should I be working hard, but I should be actually working more smart. In essence, having my money working for me. So I pursued I pursued knowledge in the financial field and becoming a licensed financial advisor. I thought, hey, that's the best way to go. So by doing so, I got into that industry, so I understand how that started to work. I didn't stop there. I kept furthering my knowledge. The more you learn, the more you earn. So I kept extending my knowledge beyond what my job actually entailed. I love financial advisors. I see the value what financial advisors provide, but I'm not your ordinary financial advisor. I'm an unorthodox financial advisor because I know there's better ways for us to accumulate wealth other than literally going to school, getting a good job, putting money into a 401k, to invest in what we call mutual funds, and expecting to be able to retire by 60 or 65. Who does that? I'm retired now. I'm not even 40. What do I mean by retire? I can literally live life on my own terms. I can get up and decide whether I want to work for a company or if I want to start my own. I've reached a point in my life where I'm what you call work location independent. I can be anywhere in the world and still not earn, but create, generate money.
We gotta stop for a second, man. I want somebody to put that in the chat box. You said that you are. Say that again about the location.
I am work location independent.
Work location independent. People, listen to that. That means that you can do your job from anywhere on the globe.
Yes,
work location independent. But you said something else, man, that was really. You said I can retire now. I think that's so key because a lot of people think some people they don't even see retirement on the horizon, and for you to say, hey, listen, I can do it now. The other thing that I really picked up on that you were talking about was just being outside of the box, right? So you said you're not the typical financial advisor. So unpack that a little bit for us.
Right. All right. Number one, work location independent. That's a beautiful thing. You mentioned retirement, and we talked about retirement. You should never retire from something. You should retire to something. So
Good.
what I mean by that is the company I was working for in financial planning, I had to work. Well, I was working with a target audience that had $250,000 or more, or people that already actually had money, that had wealth. But what about those like myself when I was a younger male looking to start my wealth journey? I didn't have anyone I can turn to. So what I came to realize is that my target audience, the people I had a heart for, that I wanted to teach, of course, people that definitely that looks like me, but even beyond that, the middle class, the working class. I wanted to reach those individuals, and I knew I had to separate from that company because our target audience was not aligned. So now it gets to a point where being work location independent, it's because I have systems. I have systems that work for me. A business should be a profitable entity that operates without you having to be involved in the day-to-day activities. A lot of us, we start these businesses and we're small business owners, or we're AKA self-employed.
Right.
That means we are the business. We're doing the marketing, we're doing HR, we're doing the sales, we're doing the back end.
You're wearing all the hats.
You're wearing all the hats. You're also now you're also wearing yourself out.
Right.
You know, when I look at financial independence, that's not only having money freedom, but that's having time freedom as well.
Because there's a lot of people that are trading money for time. I mean, that happens everywhere. That happens at the top of these major corporations where you're trading time for money. And you know, as you were saying that, I was thinking about Robert Kiyosaki as well in terms of his quadrants, right? Because you're employee, which means basically the job owns you. Then you become self-employed, which means we own a job, but it's still a job, right? That's a lot of your dentists and even major what we would call professionals are in that area. But then there's the systems. So when you get to the S quadrant, it's having a system. I think George Fraser says it like this. He's like, if you don't have a business system, you don't have a business. Right? You have a job. And so I think that was very insightful. So I just wanted to emphasize that a little bit.
Totally. And even with that too, those on the left side of the quadrant, those employees and also self-employed, guess what? They're paying the highest amount of taxes.
Yes.
But it's not all about what you make, guys. It's more so about what you can actually keep and what you do with what you actually keep. One thing I realized is that the velocity of money, the more money moves for you, the more you can actually accumulate, the more you can make. So if money never stops moving, why is it that your money has stopped moving? If you're going to work, you're working hard, your money should be working, if not hard, even harder than you're working. So your money should have an assignment. If you don't have a plan for your money, it's going to follow someone else. Someone
Wow.
else is going to.
So you said my money shouldn't come off the job at 5 o'clock. My money should stay on the clock, around the clock.
Hold on. I'm getting paid right now, Tony.
I love it, man.
No, that's how it should be. And normally you'll hear the average millionaire will have 7 streams of income. Having multiple streams of income, I think, is truly ideal. But we have to first master something. We have to have a niche and master something, one particular field, one particular job, one particular business. And then once you start producing, or you have a system producing for you, now you start to diversify your money into other assets.
Wow, Jay, I want to park there because I remember my mom would say, "A jack of all trades, master of none." Right, and I think it's so important for our young people, and even not just young people, but all of us to hear that. Master a skill, master a business. Because sometimes I think we're here, we're there, we're so spread out, we haven't mastered anything and developed a system of success, and therefore, we're kind of like, well, the Bible says that a double-minded man is, we're going back and forth, right? So I love that concept of mastering one and then adding other streams to that once you've mastered that primary or that first one.
Absolutely, absolutely, and me, I too, I was guilty of that. Especially when I was younger, I was out here trying to find my way. The first thing I did once I got into the financial planning job, I knew that I wanted multiple streams of income, because me as a Black African American male, when I see success, when we see wealthy, not rich, but wealthy individuals, there's a difference. We see where we thought about, or we correlated that with those that entertain, whether it's sports, whether it be telling you jokes, whether it be running for you, or illegally. We call them dope boys where we from. I know you guys might not know what a dope boy is, but that's someone that sells illegal medication.
Illegal prescription. I got you.
Legal, no prescriptions.
Yeah, right. Got it.
So I knew I knew that there had to be a better way, and I always wanted to be a successful African American, a wealthy African American male that did not have to entertain people to get paid for what I knew, my intellectual property. So that's why I pursued my pursuit of money. But one of the first things I did was I got a job. Now I'm using my job. My job income that I earn, yeah, it does pay and supplement my bills and expenses, but I saved money and used it as my capital. I started contributing to my employer-sponsored retirement plan, at least to the amount that they're matching me. Why? That's 100%. That's 100% rate of return I just made on my money. If I put away up to $100 based on their comp plan, they match me $100. Knowing that, then I took money out. I read and understood that 401k plan. Then I borrowed that money from that, because when I borrow money from my 401k, that's not taxable. Then what did I do? I invested that. It wasn't debt, but my borrowed money, I invested that into something that's going to produce me more income, aka an asset, and I put it into vending machines. Now I had multiple. Now vending machines. Why did I choose that? Vending machines was semi-passive, and these vending machines, I had to only change these vending machines. Some I had to change once a week. Other vending machines I had to change every other week. But it was producing me income while I'm working as a licensed financial advisor. But it didn't stop there. I've been involved in almost any business you could think, because I was trying to find my way. My source of income was financial planning, but I've had the grocery store, I've had the commercial cleaning franchise, I sold cell phones online on Amazon and eBay. I have had a cell phone store. So I've done many business ventures until I found my way in what I mastered in now. And
I was just going to say, man, that's good in terms of, just having the multiple different businesses that you tried. And my guess is that there was learning that took place in each one of those, that all that comes together, that all things work to the good, right? So all those things come together to bring you where you are today. And man, I gotta mention the keys above your head. On this, I'm looking at the wealth. Yeah, man, I like that. That's really nice because, and you said something earlier. You said there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Sure.
There's a really big difference. What I'd like for you to do, man, is tell us in your mind what's the difference between those two, and then then you can come back and tell us what you're doing now, as you have kind of laid out your experience, that's brought you to where you are now. But tell us the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
Great question. So first of all, let's define what wealth is. Wealth is an accumulation of assets that will produce you income whether you get out of bed or not. Let's look at statistics. I think statistics can help us tell this story. Most of us like watching sports. NBA players, 60% of NBA players, NFL players, 78% of NFL players, 5 years after making high incomes, they are bankrupt.
Right.
60%, 78% of these individuals. And when it comes to Major League Baseball, let's not leave them out. They file bankruptcy 3 to 5 times more than the average American. Very interesting. So we look at these individuals and they have a very high income that they're generating. They are high paid employees, such as a surgeon. They're on the left side of the quadrant. They're actually paying the most in taxes. When we look at riches, you're looking at cash, you're looking at money. Keep in mind, money is produced and made from trees. Paper is what we call fiat money. And we don't need to go that deep on here, but money has what we call no intrinsic value.
Right.
What we have to do is take money, those riches that we make, and put them into what we call assets. So what is an asset, Jay? Something that produces you income and or can also appreciate for you. So what I did, I used a skill that I learned and I produced income. That income that I made, I actually put that income into, and I acquired another rental property. Now that rental property is producing me monthly income, whether I get out of bed or not. It's also giving me a tax deduction. And typically homes appreciate in value over time and keeps up with this thing or exceeds this thing that we call inflation. So the difference between riches and wealth. Riches is temporal. Wealth is permanent. Wealth is going to produce you income and gives you better tax benefits. Riches normally necessarily doesn't give you tax benefits, and then it has no intrinsic value. If you had, think about a loaf of bread. For those that go grocery shopping, guys, I know most of us don't. You might have women that go to grocery shopping for us, but for those that have to, a loaf of bread.
Well, look, man, I've been married 29 years, brother. I go to the grocery store.
29?
Right, 29 years, man.
If you've been married 29, you shouldn't be the money coach. You should be the relationship coach. Congratulations. But in reference to that, that loaf of bread, back in my days growing up, working hard, we had that white Wonder bread. Don't judge me.
Okay.
But I remember that a loaf of bread it cost about $1 a loaf. Some that are more seasoned may realize or recall when it was $25, 25 cents a loaf.
Mm-hmm.
We go to the store now, that same bread that's made with the same ingredients, that tastes the same, that looks the same, and very similar, if not the same packaging, it costs about $3 to $4 now. What happened? It's called inflation. That's where the consumer goods that we consume, the clothes that we wear, the things that we buy, the cars that we drive, the houses that we live in, these consumer goods, they tend to increase in value every single year by this thing called inflation. And on average, that's at least about 3%. So the money you had 10, 20 years ago, those riches sitting in a bank account, not earning almost anything for you, loses what we call its purchasing power as time goes on because your money is not working for you. The money that I made in my craft is now put into this rental property that's producing me monthly rental income and is able to appreciate. So my riches is now making me money. So we should all strive for wealth versus being rich, because it's not about how much you make, it's about what you do with you make.
Yeah. And what's so important, it's so significant about the conversation about inflation too, is that when you think about inflation, you talk about that loaf of bread, and many people would say not only does the loaf of bread cost more, the loaf of bread is actually smaller. And so when we think about the loss of buying power, it is a multiple effect. It's not addition. It's multiplication. It multiplies the impact of losing buying power. And I say that often is that, if you put money in the bank and it's earning 0.5%,
that's too high right now.
Right?
Yeah.
But inflation's going up at 3%. That means you're losing 1/7 of your buying power every day. You're losing your ability to buy. And so then when we take that and now we get on what is so-called a fixed income, now you're taking that whole situation where the cost of living is going up faster than what they're doing in terms of Social Security increases and these other things. So that's why we have to have that diversification in our portfolio that I'm sure you're going to get to. But man, I love everything that you're saying, man. It's spot on. Go ahead and teach us.
Yeah, and that's why the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poor.
Right.
Obviously, and a lot of times we don't invest because of fear or ignorance. Ignorance is not a bad thing. We do not know what we do not know. And it takes for you to understand that you don't know something and seek knowledge, because a wise man hears to seek knowledge. And I look at I was never upset or mad about my mother, what she didn't teach me about money or investing, because one, we have the internet, we have information. I was aggressive to pursue it, but her mother was part of slavery. Her mother was in slavery. And,
right.
And there were times where we were not even allowed to learn this information. There was things that we did not know. So ignorance is not a bad thing. It is what it is. But now we have to seek that knowledge. And, that's why this is one reason why I'm doing what I'm doing and becoming what I'm becoming, because I'm learning and mastering this wealth game to be able to teach that middle class, which they say is going to be wiped out by the year 2050. And the African American, the minority communities are going to have 0% wealth. Right. I rebuke that. I rebuke that. So
it's not on our watch, bro. We're not going to let that happen on our watch. We're going to do everything that we can to prevent that from happening. And that's why I said earlier, it takes all of us. It takes Jay Joseph. It takes George Fraser. It takes Kimberly Winborn. It takes a multitude of us out here doing this work.
Sure.
So that doesn't happen. And so I love that. Go ahead, bro.
Correct. So my journey, after trying all these amazing things, they were not necessarily a loss, but they were a lesson. Because in business, if you do have a loss of money you invested, there's tax deductions, but there's also information that you learn. Well, how many of us or people that we know went to college and got into debt and had to pay a cost to obtain a degree, which said that we have certain skills in order to find a particular job. So that cost you as well, AKA learning. So with all these ventures, it brought me not only knowledge and understanding, but it gave me wisdom. And that's what a lot of times we don't have. And wisdom is how we apply the knowledge that we've actually read and whatnot. Because that's why you hear people, some people are book smarts and not street smarts.
Right.
And that's where wisdom comes into play. So with all these wonderful things, I took a step back, which I encourage everyone to do. And I realized, what is my end game? What is it that I want to accomplish in life? AKA my why and goals. Then I did an analysis of myself. All right, Jay, who are you and how do you want to live life? Like, I am going to, death and life is in the power of the tongue, create at least 100 millionaires before I leave this earth. That's one thing I'm going to do. And then now the circles I'm getting in now, I'm thinking too small. Now I'm going to retire my immediate family. They will get retired. And then I want to travel this world as I'm traveling this world now. Many people are in COVID. I've been to over 4 or 5 countries in the last 4 months in multiple cities. Most people in COVID was sitting still. Not I, because my opportunity of being work location independent. So I knew what I wanted. I had and understood my why. Your why should always be bigger than you. Cannot, if it's, I just want to make this for me, you're not thinking big enough.
Right.
I don't want to go on. I'm gonna move on. I can get passionate about that. But
it's good, man. That's we need to hear that. We need to be reminded of that. And I think it's okay, man. You know, when we talk about, you know, what's your why?
yes.
I mean, if you look in the mirror and you see your why, that's not it. It's got to be more than that. It's got to be, and that's where we talk about legacy, right? Generational wealth, making a difference, making an impact, not just in our. We want to make it at home, right? Because it starts at home. You talked about retiring your immediate family. We want the generations around us. You know, I didn't say just generations behind us, but generations around us, those that are in our own generation, to have more and to do more. And when we do that, and then that trickles down to those generations that are coming up, that's generational wealth. You know, generational wealth is not leaving, you know, your 1978 deuce and a quarter, right? You know, generational wealth is leaving some assets that can be used to create more money. Because I love what you said about wealth, because you mentioned some things, and you have an accounting background, and I do too. And maybe that's why we just hit it off, man. Because we just accountants, we being counters by nature, right? But you talked about it appreciates in value. You talked about that it produces income and it produces tax write-off. Those are three major things. When you are looking at something, if it appreciates in value, if it produces income and gives you a tax write-off, man, that sounds like, to me, that's exactly where you want to be.
Absolutely want it is. And now if we go back to think about what I said before, and we said before, it's not about necessarily how much you make, but how much you can keep. One of the big, you got to think about it. We pay taxes on cooked food, cell phones, gas, Medicare, Social Security, federal. Should I keep going?
Right.
That we pay taxes on about everything. And as an employee, we got 3 friends that touches our money that we work, that we traded our time for before we even see it. Our homeboy Medicare, our homeboy FICA, and our homeboy Social. As a business owner, you make the money,
right?
You spend the money, and what's left over, we highlight our homeboys and then pay them out of that. So this is why we got to get to a point where we put ourselves in a position where we're able to keep more money. I want to see the chats going up. I need some help. I want you guys to think about over the last 70 years, how high do you think the federal tax bracket has been for individuals? How high over the last 60 years?
Over the last 60 years.
Yes, the last 60 or 70 years.
I'm not going to answer it because I know an answer on it. Somebody tell us, what do you think the highest tax bracket has been over the last 60 years? Anybody? Now y'all can Google it, you know that, but we want to know who has a guess at what the tax bracket is. Put it in the chat box.
And currently it's 40%, about 40% right now. So how high do you think it's been?
Listen, okay, we got Maxine 75%. We got Winston Bruce said 75%. I want to live in Vivian Stewart's world. She said 30%.
Hey, whatever country you at, Vivian, I need another step on my passport. I'm coming.
Yeah, absolutely. But the highest one there was Winston Brewston. He said 75%. Jay Cummins said 54. We got Chad at 65. Let's see. If this was The Price is Right and the nearest answer without going over would be the winner, I think that would be Winston Brewston, wouldn't it?
Hey, Winston. Yes, sir. Winston, you were close. If you add 16 to what you put, that's where we were. 91%. 90+% is what the federal taxes was at one point in our life. That's the fastest way the government can access money from individuals. So that means if you just made $10,000, only 900 is going to go. Not even 900, because that's only federal taxes. You still got Social Security and Medicare.
And this is the thing that people don't understand. Can I share just an example of that? Ronald Reagan Ronald Reagan, was president, but he was an actor. And he would only work so much because of the federal tax bracket. He would stop working every year because if he earned another dollar, it would put him in a 90% tax bracket. And then, so now he would pay 90% of everything he earned would go to the federal government for taxes. That's the world that we're living in with these very high marginal tax brackets. And so for a lot of people, what you got to understand today, if you look at where taxes are today, they're at a discount compared to where they were in the 50s. They're discount compared to where they were, like you said, upwards of 91% marginal tax bracket. Now, can you imagine that? Now, some of y'all, let me go church on y'all real quick. Some of y'all don't want to give 10% in tithe. Imagine the government taking 90%. Come on, somebody. All right,
go ahead. But take it. Take it.
They're not even asking you. It ain't no volunteer. It's like they're gonna take it out before your direct deposit even hits.
Absolutely. So, and that's why we just have to understand and learn the money game. Places that we can strategically place our money and our wealth can reduce our tax liability. Trust is one way that we can operate that. Having businesses is one way we can also counter against that. And then also acquiring certain assets can also do that. But the number one thing is once we at a certain level, operating in trust where you actually own nothing but control everything is where we eventually need to be at. And the air gets different up there.
And that's something we talk about all the time is like you want to own nothing but control everything. Just spend just a minute there, Jay, talking about the use of trust in terms of how that can be a beneficial thing, not only for tax advantages, but also transferring of assets, that type of thing. Go ahead. Talk a little bit about trust.
All right. So when we look at a trust, first, let's define what a trust is. A trust is it's actually its own entity, similar like an LLC, but it's an entity. Consider this here. Donald Trump, I know you guys probably heard in the media, he paid $715 in taxes, and he had a series of trusts. You got to follow the money. We got to understand if you want something, you got to mimic those that are doing it, have done it before. But what a trust is an entity that has three components to it. It has what we call a grantor, someone that conveys, gives the property, the land, the money into the particular trust. Then we have someone that actually is like a custodian, someone that manages this particular trust, and they're called a trustee. Then we have someone that's going to receive benefit from this particular trust, and that's what we call a beneficiary. So that's what a trust is. And now the actual grantor can set up rules for this trust, and this trust can be your legacy. So instead of writing a will, I can have it in a particular trust. It's arm length distance away from me. Now there's two kinds of trusts: irrevocable and revocable. We don't have time to go into details, but with this trust, you can deposit or put in your assets inside this particular trust, and then you can say, hey, I want this child, this entity, or this corporation to get these assets inside of this trust. I want them to get this amount every single year, next month, once they graduate. You can put specific rules. You can even do what we call like a bloodline clause in there and say, hey, I'm going to pass this to my son. If he gets married, not if his wife can touch this. And this is since it's a separate entity, it cannot be sued by you. I mean, if you were to be sued, it's a separate entity from you. So trust can help you defer taxes. It can have your legacy to live on as you want to, even though you're not even here. And it also can it protects you from litigation.
Right. Litigation, the spin down process, if there was ever a need for long-term care or nursing home, some of those types of things, we talk about that, is that having established a trust is just a magnificent way to ensure that property, assets, wealth stay in the family. You can dictate from the grave exactly what's happening. So I think that's really great, and I'm glad you mentioned trust because it comes up a lot. is like who should have a trust. And I'm thinking about one great example. Let's take two artists, for example. You have Prince, who's, I mean, you just drop your head. I don't even need to say anything else. Just you just the fact you drop your head. So Prince, no will, any of that kind of stuff. People fighting, I'm his daddy. No, I'm his daddy. Oh, all this kind of crazy stuff going on. Then on the other hand, you have Michael Jackson. Now, Michael Jackson had a one-page will because the will was only designed to catch something that might have gotten snuck in and not made it into the trust.
AKA pour over will.
So that's the whole thing, is the trust is dictating, and the will is just kind of the catch-all for some things that maybe you don't want to put into your trust because of liability reasons, maybe an auto or something like that. But so that's how all that works together. So that's so important in terms of wealth. And going back to what you said, it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep.
What you keep and what you do with what you keep. So
yeah.
that's totally.
So real close, man. We're I can't believe, man, we're approaching 9 o'clock. Okay. But I want you to just spend, a few minutes just talking a little bit about what you're doing in terms of trading, and maybe real quick how you got into that, and just share a little bit of that. And we do have a question from Alice Martin who was asking specifically about some things for, seniors who are in retirement, avoiding taxes, that type of thing. So I don't know if you have any, a quick answer for her on that, but I do want you to spend a few minutes just talking a little bit about what you're doing with trading before we have to sign off.
Oh, yes. Perfect. Alice, definitely time is of the essence. And one thing we have to consider is one risk tolerance and one risk where you are currently. What I like to do is understand the client currently where they are, but most importantly, where they're trying to get to. We need to know how much you need on a month-to-month basis. We need to run the numbers and see what Social Security is going to be. But if we're looking at income, certain things that one can do for income, something that I do as well, is real estate. Real estate generates income. If one does not want to be a landlord, if one don't want to buy property themselves, you can invest in what we call a REIT, a real estate investment trust. Some can be private, or those can be traded on what we call the open market. But they typically generate income for you. Some generate income monthly, some generate income every quarter. Also, if individuals have retirement assets, most times, like these larger corporations, are only going to tell us about an IRA account where they want your money in mutual funds, stocks, or bonds. That's not the only type of assets you can actually have. There are retirement accounts that you can actually buy tangible assets. What is tangible assets? Gold, real estate. You may have a son, a family member, someone that's starting a business, and you can invest into them. That's one thing that I have. I have a private ownership in the business, and I get paid every single month, whether I get out of bed or not. So what do? I invest it in people. The greatest investment you're ever going to make is in yourself. And of course, if you want to talk and strategize one-on-one, I do strategy sessions with individuals. You can check me out at Jay's Money Secrets on IG, or jaysmoneysecrets.com, or jaysmoneyconsultingservices.com, and schedule a free strategy session with me so we can talk and go a little bit more in depth about your personal situation.
And Jay, real quick on that too is, and I keep saying real quick, we got to do it, and perhaps we won't get into it tonight, but we'll come back on the show and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about self-directed IRAs and some of those type of things where you can utilize your retirement funds, those 401ks, establish your self-directed business, invest in real estate. There's some rules there, but I think we'll come back and we'll have a show just based on self-directed. But Jay, in this last 5 minutes, let's hit this trading.
All right, let's do it. All right, so trading. One thing I realized is, as I mentioned, I did an analysis of myself, and I had to realize, Jay, who are you? What do you do? And what do you want to do? And I realized that if I wanted something to get done, I always depended on myself to get it done. And I knew I would work hard to get it done no matter what. I literally I bought a commercial cleaning franchise. The first night, didn't know it would move that fast. I got an actual contract to clean a 14,000 square foot church and could not find the workers in time. And I went out there and cleaned it myself for 6 hours. That's the kind of person I am. Number two, I know that I value my time and I like to travel. So I know that if these are the things that matters most to me, this is the individual I am. So I have to find something that's going to fit in along those lines. And when I did that, that's when I got in tune to the stock market. Of course, I learned some things about the stock market from being a licensed financial advisor, but it taught me nothing what I do now.
Mhm.
I discovered that skill, and that's why you always have to continue learning. Investing in yourself is the best thing that you can do. So I analyzed myself, seeing what was ideal for me, and then I got involved in the stock market. I'm like, what you can make, what you can do, what I don't have to depend on any employees. I don't have to depend on any employer. I can be anywhere just with the internet connection. So I took heed to that. Once I took heed to that, I started reading books. Then I'm using this thing called YouTube University. And what I realized is that over time, over the years, I was catching on, I was learning, and I was progressing over time. But I was progressing over time. One thing I realized is my most valuable resource is my time. I can't get back when I was in my 20s. If I lost a cell phone, my laptop, a car, I can replace all those things, but I can't get back my time. So what I then did is I invested in myself and someone that was doing greater than doing what I wanted to do. So I invested in myself, and then I got into a course. I invested in a course, and my first course was about $5,000 I paid. I made that back in 2 months from that investment. This year alone, I put 20 grand in my learnings. I just got with another guy that trades. I quit a 6-figure job that took me 12 months to make it. And I made that in 3.5 months from trading in the stock market. And I'm like, man, Jay, you made $35,000 in a month before. Man, that's great. Until I heard someone that made it in a day. So guess what I did? I took the money that I created from trading and I put it on my credit card. I got my reward points. Then I took the money from the market to pay it off. And I invested in someone that made $20, $25, $30,000 in a day, continually to invest in yourself. So the beautiful thing about trading in the market, I can make money where the economy is good. I can make money while the economy is down. The beginning of COVID, I had an injury. I'm home with my leg up. I tore my Achilles. And I had nothing but time on my hands. The world was shut down. I was making more money in COVID than I was when I was well leaving the house.
Man, you're living your best COVID life. Come on, son.
Well,
Listen.
I couldn't walk around to enjoy it, but yeah, it was a good life.
Man, I tell you what, this is the thing about it, folks, is that there's so many different opportunities. We know that there's trading. We've had George Fraser talk about Cash FX. So we've had Extreme FX on here, different platforms for trading. I really do think it is great. Yes, Chad, time is money. Lisa, we will do the show on self-directed, and this has been pretty awesome. Listen, Jay, man, we're gonna have to have you back and just spend some more time talking about the trading. You know, next time we may just have to dive right into the trading. So you and I will connect on that. And again, Jay, your contact information is
all right. That's going to be on IG. Is Jay's Money Secrets on IG. The website jaysmoneysecrets.com. And I also do have another website, which is jaysmoneyconsultingservices.com.
Got it. Listen, folks, we've got to run. I got to get started with this other class in California. But listen, it has been an awesome, awesome show. Thank you. Thank you for your engagement in the chat box. This replay will be available on our YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, what you waiting on? Subscribe to the Real Money Coach YouTube channel. Make sure that you're part of our private Facebook group. And remember, you can email us at info@therealmoneycoach. Info@therealmoneycoach. If you need information, if you need some contact for Jay, if you want to set up a private free consultation with me, you can do that by emailing us at info@therealmoneycoach. You can always go to TonyJacksonAppointment.com and get on my calendar. Go to TonyJacksonAppointment.com, get on my calendar, and we can have a conversation. It all begins with a conversation. Listen, again, I want to thank Jay for being a part of it. I want to thank all of you for being here, watching, whether you're watching the replay or you watched us live tonight. Listen, God bless you. Stay safe. Wear your mask. This thing is still real. Listen, and we're going to see you next week. We're going to see you next week. Same bat channel, same bat station, right here, Thursday at 8 p.m. on The Real Money Coach. God bless you. Have a wonderful night.